guys, it is Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Man, have we got a massive hit today. We're gonna learn how to do Hold On Loosely by 38 Special. So this one I've avoided for a while because it's tons of requests for it. There's just so much going on in this song. Jeff Carlisi has a solo that's like 2 minutes long. It's got so many classic lines in it, and there's a lot to kind of dissect. And even the rhythm guitar parts, even though they're pretty simple to play, they're pretty layered. They're usually with like 2 or 3 guitars kind of combining to create the sound of the section that you're hearing. So breaking all that down and kind of doing justice to the song takes some time. So that's why the delay, but we're gonna knock it out today. We're gonna do the whole thing. I hope you guys are joining me. Now, before I get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Ring the notification bell, of course. You can get notified when I release a new video. And very important, when I release a video, how about watching it? Even if it's not a song you're not totally interested in, you probably learn something, or at least let it play in the background while you're cooking lunch or something. It really helps the channel out. Kind of like and comment on them, and it just really helps the video reach more people. And if you really want to support what I do here on YouTube, number one way is to join my Guitar Academy. You're going to see a link to that in the description below. It's the GL365 Academy. It's my online guitar school. So it's just guitar courses covering everything from complete beginner courses to more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, and theory. I go live every Saturday, every weekend I go live. I do some live courses. I also just do live general question and answer every week with just Academy members, so you can get your questions answered from me in real time. So it's a lot of fun. That link below will give you a free 7-day trial, so please go check it out. Let's jump into this. So we're gonna start here. This intro actually has 2 guitar parts here. The main one that I played earlier looks like this. All right, so it's kind of that. So we're gonna start here with this B power chord. It's at the 7th fret of the low E string. Take it down to the A power chord 2 frets lower. And then we're gonna jump up to the E power chord at the 7th fret of the A string. And this is where the riff's gonna start here. So let's just get the chords real quick. So we have this power chord, 7 on the A, 9 on the D. And then the next chord is just gonna be taking the note on the A string down to the 6th fret, keeping that note here on the D string at the 9th fret. And then just take it down to the D power chord, so that's 5 on the A, 7 on the D. And then move this down 1 fret to the 4th fret on the A. So that's the chords. Now what he does here, he does a kind of a hit, unmuted hit, and then he heavily palm mutes it. It keeps this 8th note rhythm going down just on the note that's on the A string. So it just goes, you hit that again, and then one more time on that note on the 7th fret there, and then just take it down to the 6th fret. And then the same thing there. And you get that little transition again. So with this. That takes us to the verse. So now over that we have a chord that just kind of does those stabs. He plays the same 4 chords and the same that little thing, but it just goes. That kind of thing. So it's just taking the same 4 chords, just hitting them once, and you can just kind of time it with the stabs there in the intro. And then we get to the actual first verse, and things are gonna change around just a little bit. So we have 2 parts. One's gonna do this. Take us to the pre-chorus. So it's that same riff. But replacing this now, that, we're gonna have this. So that's gonna be sliding 2 to 4 on the A string and back down to 2. And then you're gonna bend up the 2 on the low E string and then to the open E. Now when you get that open E, you're gonna really kind of jumping up and grabbing the power chord again. Now second time through, when we get down to this chord, which is an A chord, you kind of don't palm mute it anymore. You just kind of start building up that chord for the pre-chorus that we'll cover in a second. So there's a second guitar part with this that doesn't do that part. Instead, goes back to the top again. So it looks like this. Just like that. So it's just kind of going back with that bottom chord, back up to the D power chord, and then back up to the E, straight to the E. And so that goes on with it. So that riff right there is what's going to be different in the second verse. The little transition there. They do it a little bit different, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So that's the 2 verse sections, first verse riffs. And then we get to the pre-chorus, and there's pretty much 3 things going on here. 2 of them more important than the other. So probably the one you're hearing the most is just a simple. I don't know the words to this song. I'm not a word person, but so I'll kind of hum the melody. So it's just basically those 2 chords, just building up in the pre-chorus, the C and the D chord. So that's what. Now we have with that kind of an 8th note feel still going. It's kind of propelling the rhythm a little bit, but it's kind of buried in the mix. So this is probably the least important part, but it's that C chord again, but we're gonna add the G and the bass there. It's kind of just playing in a kind of an 8th note feel too, to kind of push it along like we. So it's kind of pretty much the same chords, but these, just kind of letting them ring, you hear louder. All right, now with that, we have kind of a high part that looks like this. So that right there, we're really doing a melody. So we have this open G string that kind of starts it, and then it's played between each melody note. So let's get the melody down first. So it's 3, 2 on the high E string, then 3 on the B, and then 1 on the B. So. Now, we'll start with an open G, and then play each melody note, and go back to the open G after each melody note. So with this. And that one right there, played at the very end, is just gonna happen really quick. That first fret on the B, and then start the melody over. Until you end it right there on the B string the second time. So. And then we do kind of the same thing, but it's just based around a D chord. So we keep going back to the G string again, but now it's being held on the second fret. So it's still 3, 2 on the high E string, 3 on the B, but then back down to that G string. And then 3, 2, 3. So it's kind of just the same thing. So I would say this, along with this. the two most important parts there. And then we get to the chorus. Now the chorus has kind of these big jangly chords that are probably the main thing. It's just the main chord progression. Then there's a single note riff that's being played with it. And then there is a series of fills that are also being played with it by Jeff Carlisi. So I'm going to kind of tackle each three of these. Probably the chords and the fills are probably the most important ones if you just have a 2-guitar band. So the chords themselves are pretty simple. All right, so like I said, these three things come together to kind of create the sound of the chorus. If you're missing some of the parts, like, well, what about this? What about that? It's coming. So we're gonna start here with this big E power chord. So that's just an open E string, 7th fret there on the A, 9 on the D, 9 on the G, then the open B, open high E. Just a bunch of E's and B's. So you're really kind of opening up the sound here. And then we're gonna go to that same chord. But so still just dropping that note back on the A string to the 6th fret. I'm gonna keep these two notes going and I'm still gonna play the open B and the high E. But I'm gonna mute the low E string. You don't want that under, you don't want that, it's gonna be too dissonant. So you can do it with the first chord and then when you come back and grab that 6th fret on the A string, use the tip of your index finger to mute that low E string. Then from there, we just go to the same D power chord, just take it down here. And you can have the open B and high E string with that as well. Now when you get to the A chord, in first inversion, just play those two strings. The 4th fret there on the A, the 7th fret there on the D. And then that transition to come back up. So you do those chords twice, and then we get to the ending of the chorus, which is just this F sharp minor chord. So that's a full bar at the 2nd fret, and in front of that you'll play the 4th fret on the D and the A. And then you just gotta go to a B major. You'll probably see me play this like this with my pinky, but you can play it like a kind of a normal way. So there's a 2nd fret on the A string and then the 4th fret across the D, G, and the B. And then back to that F sharp minor to an A chord. And that's it for the chorus, for the foundation, I guess the actual progression. Now with that we have a single note riff, looks like this. End of it's the same. So we're basically just gonna slide to 7 on the A string and then kind of sliding into the 7th fret of the low E and then play 7/6 on the A. So and then the same thing 2 frets lower. And then just work your way up, just single notes to 5, back to 7 and start over. And then we have this little riff that takes us down to the F sharp minor chord. So that's just going to be 4, slide down to 2 on the A, then the open A, then play 4/2 into an F sharp minor chord. And then it's the same B to the B, then F sharp to the A. So then we have in addition to those, we have Jeff Carlisi playing some fills there. So those fills come in on the 2nd chord. So those look like this. right, so that's gonna just play the first chord when you hit that second chord. Now he's using some hybrid picking here. So first you're gonna slide to 11 on the D, then down to 9. And then you're gonna do an oblique bend. So you're gonna basically hold the 10th fret there on the B, and then the 9th fret on the G. And when you pick those two together, which I'm picking with my middle finger and ring finger, I bend up that note on the G string and then bring it back down. Pick those two notes together again. So then we have this. So that's going to be sliding into 11 again on the D, then the 9 across the D and the G, B and the G, sorry. And then we're going to play 10 on the B, 11 on the G, pick those, and pull back off to the 9. So this. And then into the same oblique bend that we did here, but up 2 frets. And then we go into the same lick that we started with. And then we'll end this. This ends right before the F sharp minor chord. Now that right there, we're back to that second oblique bend that was up here, the 11 and 12 here. Go ahead and do a pre-bend. So you can pre-bend it, and then release, then play 9 on the G, slide down to 8, slide down to 6. And that, when they get here, that's when you get to the F sharp minor chord, and you can kind of just join them there. So that's it for the 3 parts in the chorus. Like I said, probably the 2 most important ones are that, the chords, and then the Jeff Carlisi's fills. Those would be 2 good sections to do. And then we get to the second verse. Now this verse number 2 is a little bit different. We have a little bit of variation in the actual riff itself, and then in its transition chords, instead of going, it goes to kind of an A to B power chord. So that along with the fills is kind of a little variation, and you kind of play it this way for the rest of the song. So we have this. All right, so that's that same riff. But when you get to the second chord here, you're gonna see a hammer on from 9 to 11, kind of a big stretch on the D string, and then back to that 9. And then it's kind of the same, but now instead of going up like that, we just go up after this chord. Just the A power chord, the 5th fret of the low E, to the 7th fret of the low E, and then start like that. Again. And here. Once again, you're just going to go back into the pre-chorus there. Same pre-chorus as before, so nothing new to learn, and the same chorus as before as well. So nothing new to learn there. Now we just get to this little clean section where we have the bridge, basically. Let me play through this for you real quick. This is going to have 2 guitar parts on it as well. All right, so that's kind of that part of takes us back into the verse again. So we want to start here with this G, just this G triad. So that's a 4th fret on the G string. I'm sorry, it's a B note, and then the 3rd fret across the B and the high E. So you have that chord, and then it's going to go to a D major chord, which you can just do by taking the bar back 1 fret and then moving that note over to the B string at the 3rd fret. So we have this. So he's playing this kind of staccato way, a good picking pattern. It's kind of down, 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 up, up, down, down, down. So it's kind of just like down, 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 up, up, down. And remember, you're kind of killing it in between each chord to give that kind of staccato feel. So just lift off the pressure of the fingers. And it's a little bit easier, the second chord, we're just gonna play a regular D major chord, and you can just do it with the same pattern that I just did before. And that you're getting that little melody note by just picking up the note on the high E string and making an open high E to make a D sus2 chord. So look at this. So all together. So that second time through, when you got to the D, you didn't get to the upstrokes, you just jump in it. Just go A power chord to the B flat power chord, the first fret of the A, up to a B. And then back to the verse. Now with that, we have this other guitar line that comes in there. So at the dun 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 dun. All right, so that's just 3, 4, 5 on the low E string. And then slide into that 5. And then it goes to a D chord, but you're really just hearing the bass player going to the D. It's not really a guitar there, but you can play it on the guitar to the D. And then that catch the same ending there that we did in the other part. And then that takes us back to the next verse, which is just the exact same as the previous verse. So with those two variations, so that'll be the same there. And then we get to the same chorus as well. And that takes us really to the outro section. Now this outro section has a chorus, then a chorus with a guitar solo playing with it, and then an actual guitar solo, which all you hear is guitar. Then the chorus comes back in with some guitar still playing, and then an actual second guitar solo with no vocals. All right, so the first time you hear the chorus, when the chorus starts at the end of the song, you hear it like it's played just like we did earlier on in the song. So the same exact way. And then when you hear the guitar solo start coming in, so when the chorus is playing and you hear a guitar solo playing with it, basically, the chorus is played a little bit differently. And so what the change is instead of the same thing that we did in the verse, that little transition that we were doing in the verse, and we were also doing it and that as well. That is the change to the A to B, just like we did in the verse. So kind of mix it up. So the first time you hear, basically I'm going to play this rhythm, you're hearing the chorus when it comes in, it's played just like previously, and then when the solos, you start hearing guitar solos played with that chorus, that outro chorus, that's when things are getting mixed up. There's a little bit, when you start doing that A to B transition, and there's a little pause there too. So let me just play that part for you real quick. All right, so that's where that little pause is, that little pinch harmonic is on the guitar solo, and that kind of takes us into the actual first true guitar solo without any vocals on it. So it's the same riff, same chords. Now we're just going to do that A, B to transition back to the beginning of it, and then do the chords again. And on the third chord, hit it and kill it, and then the fourth chord. And then we're going to transition up the way we did earlier in the song here. And then we go into the first guitar solo. It works over, now this outro chorus doesn't go back into that F sharp to B, F sharp to A anymore. It just kind of keeps with this riff repeated. So when you hear the actual solo, first true solo that's played without vocals, you hear it played that same transition that like we did earlier in the song with the earlier choruses in the song. And then the chorus comes back in and we play it the new way. And then we pretty much play it the new way for the rest of the song. So without those pauses, it's just that transition to A to B. That's pretty much what I mean. So it's pretty much that for even when the guitar solo comes back in and all that stuff. So that's the rhythm guitar work. Let's get to the solos. This is, Jeff Carlisi's got some awesome solos. About 2 minutes of playing here. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just describe what I'm gonna do with these solos. When the guitar solo first comes in, there's a chorus that's going on. I'm gonna do that solo underneath that chorus note for note, because there's a lot of lines that we can really pick out nice. And then we get to the actual first guitar solo when the vocals drop out. And I'm gonna do that one note for note. And I'll play that all together in this first performance. And then when the chorus comes back in, he's just kind of riffing in this kind of, he's in major, he's playing major, but he's kind of riffing around this like familiar minor pentatonic, but he's in E major. That part I won't do exactly note for note. I'll show you a couple of licks of what he's doing there. But then when the vocals drop out and we have guitar solo number 2 that goes all the way to the fade out, I'm going to be doing that one note for note as well. So let's start for the first section here where we have basically the first, that chorus with the solo all the way through the first solo. So it looks like this. All right, so that takes care of that whole opening section, and then that last chorus comes in there, and that's the one we're not going to do exactly note for note. But so we're going to start here with this. So just kind of slide down the strings and then slide into the 7th fret of the A string, and you're going to play 9, slide up to 11, back down to 9. Down to 7 on the A, and then over to 9 on the D. And then come over here to the B string, pull off 10 to 9, and then 11 to 9 on the G. Then back to that 10 on the B, and then all right, so after this, when you get here, you're gonna play 10, 9, 7 on the B string, over to 9 on the G, and then back to the 7 on the D, and then to the 9 on the D, and then you kind of go back to that 7, let them ring together, so with this. And then just go up to play these 2 notes together, the 9th fret there on the B and the 9th fret on the D. So then pick those together, I'm kind of a hybrid picking. Slide them down 2 frets and then just kind of bending that note at the 7th fret on the B string like 4 times. Then release, and then play 5 on the B, over to 6 on the G, back to that 5 on the B. That's when that first pause, we had that, and then when you hit this chord, we have this pinch harmonic played at the 9th fret there on the G string. And then we get to the actual first guitar solo. And that first phrase is this. All right, so that's a quick little bend and release at the 11th fret there on the G. And then jump up here to the 12th fret there on the high E string. Now a lot of these notes he's letting them kind of sustain out by just kind of picking them a few times. So I might not be picking exactly like he is, just kind of sustaining the notes. It depends on how your guitar is sustaining, how much you're going to pick it. So if you actually playing that note, he has a quick slide up to the 14th fret there on the high E string, and he has this. So you go back down to the B string, the 12th fret, hammer on 14, pull back off to 12, over to 13 on the B. So it is. And then we're back up here to the top note. So this little melody you see a couple times in the solo. The 12th fret on the high E, slide down to 11, then 9, over to 12 on the B. And then, so this is gonna slide into the 11 on the D and then play 10 on the B, let that ring together. And then this E triad from the 9th fret on the B, G, and the D. And then we have this little descending line that kind of ends this first solo. So this is going to start with a hammer from 5 to 6 on the D string, and then hold. You're going to pick 6 again and hold it for a quick second. Then we're going to kind of start our ascending. So now this is a little bit of a tricky riff because he goes to this note here, but it sounds like he slides into it. So what he's doing, he plays 5, hammers on 6, holds it for a second, hits it a few times, slide to 7, hold that, and then pick that a few times. And he starts doing it like you hear him slide, but he jumps over to the 4th fret there on the G. You can hear a slide into this note, and it's just kind of like a fake slide. And then we have this. So that's over the 5th fret there on the B string. Then pull off the 4. And then slide into 7. And pull off the 5. And then kind of do the same thing. So sliding into 12 on the B, pull off to 10, slide from 12 to 14 on the B, up to 12 on the high E. So, and then he has a quick little lick that just ends this first solo. It's a quick little chromatic thing. 12, 13, 14 on the B. And then 12 on the high E, then back to 14 on the B, and back to that 12 on the high E. Now we get to the last chorus, and this is, like I said, he continues doing this. So he's just kind of messing around with this pentatonic shape mostly. There's a few licks in here, but I'm not going to get this section note for note. So under this last chorus, usually when there's kind of an outro chorus and it's just kind of riffing on these kind of bluesy type licks, I don't really get that stuff note for note because it's kind of off the cuff playing. So there's a couple of licks in there though he does repeat, and does when he played them live, he would repeat them. A lot of the solo he would repeat, but so there's a couple of licks that I'll just point out a few licks that are in there, and then we'll get into the last solo here. So we just kind of, you still hear that? He'll do that kind of oblique bend where he'll be holding the 12th fret on the high E and the 12th fret on the B. You kind of bend that note up and then release it. And the same thing, same oblique bend that we did before. And he does a straight kind of blues blues lick where he kind of bends at the 11th fret and goes to the top note here, well, almost the top note, the 9th fret there on the high E, and then come back down 12, 9. That kind of stuff you'll hear him do. Like I said, this section is better, just kind of do your own thing with it. And then there is this one lick. He does this bend at the 10th fret, and he grabs the 9th fret on the high E string, and then kind of pre-bend in the 11th fret on the G and pull off the 9. So you do hear that. So anyway, there's just a few licks that you're gonna see in that underneath that last chorus. But for the most part, just think of it as just kind of messing around with that pentatonic shape, that 12, 9 on the high E and the B, and 11, 9 on the G, D, A, and then 12, 9 on the B. So just mess around. Now coming out of that, when the vocals drop out, we get to the last solo that kind of takes us to the fade out. And that is solo number 2, and that will go back to note for note. So it looks like this. Right there, it kind of just starts kind of fading out. So we're gonna start here at the 12th fret there on the B string, and then hammer on 14, and then we have that, which is kind of a bend at the bend and release at the 11th fret on the G, down to a 9 on the G, over 11 on the D, back to 9, into another bend at the 11. And back to that 9, so it is. Next phrase. So that's gonna slide into the 11th fret there on the D, and we're gonna back to the 9 on the G. I'm gonna pull off 11 to 9, and then pick that 9 again, and then pull off again. So it's. And then we have this. And that's going to be 12 up to the little blues note there. So that's up to the 12th fret there on the G. Slide down to 11. Pull off to the 9th fret. So you can actually pick it if you want. And then over to 11 on the D. And then back to that 9 on the G. So you just do that lick twice. And then we get to a very killer lick. All right, so that lick is repeated 4 times. So we're gonna start here at the high E string, 12th fret. And then you're gonna pull off 14 to 12 on the B string. And then you're gonna go over to 14 on the, you basically pick one note on a string. So pick the top note, pick the 14, pull off to 12. And then you're gonna pick 14 on the G string, pull off to 13, and then hammer back onto that 14. So you only pick the first note on each string. So it's a 6-note lick, and then you just repeat that 4 times. And then it goes into that same little. So that same little melody line that takes us down to 12, 11, 9, to 12 on the B, and then So we have that oblique bend again, the 12th fret on the B and the 11th fret there on the G. Release, down to 9 on the G with that 12 on the B. Then play 11, 9 on the D. And then back to that bend again. And then just 9 on the G and 12 on the B. And then we gotta kind of do a series of them. So we just kind of, a couple bends there. Down to the 9 on the G and 11 on the D, back, and then back. And then we kind of a little bit different. So it's all based around that same oblique bend is what we're doing. So just kind of some of that stuff, and then kind of jumps up there and does that lick. So we start with the 14th fret there on the D, and then just bar your finger real quick. You play 14 on the G and the B together. Back to that 14 on the D. And then the double stop here, the 12th fret on the B and the G. And then back to 14 on the D. And then just repeat that. Just kind of ended on that note there on the 14th fret on the D string. And then from here we have the next phrase. So a little pinch harmonic on this E at the 17th fret there on the B string, there. So that's 17 on the B, and then play 17, 16, 14, over to 16 on the G. And then come down and do some bends at the 12th fret there on the B string. Release, pull off to 10, down to 9, and then pull off 10 to 9 again, and then come down through the arpeggio, 9 on the G, 9 on the D. And then we have that same ascending run that we did earlier, so at the end of the first solo. So nice, he had to play it twice. So we basically, when you get a top note and just do a hammer on from 12 to 14 on the B, and then we had this ending section. So we got to start now at the 14th fret of the high string. Bend, then do another bend and release. Down to 12, back to 14, and then a bend on that 14. So we had this. Then another bend at the 14th, and release it. Down to 12 on the B, 12 on the high E, then 14 on the B, back to the 12 on the high E, and back to the 14 on the B. And then just a quick bend at the 14th on the high E, down to that 12. And then we're gonna end the solo, you start hearing it fade out. And that's a quick little hammer pull from 12 to 14 on the high E, pull back off to the 12. Over to 14 on the B. So you do that lick a couple times. And then come back to that 12. And then he slides into the unison of that note at the 17th fret on the B string. And then as you hear it fade out, he kind of goes up, instead of going, you hear that note again, but it's actually being played down. Since he slid here to the 17, he goes up to 19 and starts doing bends. Because he's getting that 19 on the high E string in there with it too, with an oblique bend, but it starts really quickly fading out there. So. But you can do whatever you want, just kind of playing around in E major. You're good to go no matter what you choose. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's an in-depth breakdown. There's a lot of stuff going on, but Jeff Carlisi's got some great guitar solos in this, so you got to kind of tackle that. But then even the rhythm guitar sections, even though they're pretty simple to play, they're kind of layered together, so there's multiple things going on at once. So it's just really well done song for all that to come together, and I'm sure you can really do a pretty convincing version with like a 2-guitar band. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.